Hi guys. I thought we should talk a little bit about the annotated bibliography as well as MLA citations. So, for the annotated bibliography, you are going to be tasked to find three or four secondary sources that are timely, useful, credible, and relevant to your primary source. And they should relate in some way, shape, or form to your research questions. That said, feel free to change those research questions if you think that they might not yield as much information to form a full fledged research paper. In any case, for the annotated bib, at least one of your four sources, three to four sources, should be from a scholarly peer reviewed journal. Along with the journals that you find, you have to cite those secondary sources in MLA format and then write an annotation, hence annotated bibliography, of 4 to 5 sentences that includes a description of the source, a detailed summary of the author's main argument, and an explanation of how the source relates to your argument. So, for those of you who don't understand what a peer reviewed journal is, like I said before in the previous lecture, scholars make knowledge by sharing, challenging, critiquing, and building off of each other's work. And peer reviewed journals are journals that have articles where the articles are written by experts and they're also reviewed by experts in that same field. So you know that the articles that you find in peer reviewed journals are of high quality. So for this assignment, you have to make sure that at least one of those sources comes from a peer reviewed journal. And in order to show you how to do that, I thought it would be important to show you how I do it usually. So there are two main ways that you can do it. One is going to the library website and then clicking on articles, going to advanced search, and then let's say that I'm interested in working on articles about the Little Mermaid. I then click under popular limits, let's say only, that says only return peer reviewed articles, and then I make the search. And automatically the library website will limit the search to articles that are from peer reviewed sources. The other option that you have is going to the library site, clicking on research databases list, and then searching for academic search complete, which will take you to an EBSCO host, which is one of the databases that you can use for this class. Really, you can use any of them. And then through the EBSCO host website, you again do another advanced search and you filter that search so that you can only get peer reviewed articles. So I just wanted to go back really quickly to talk about how to evaluate credibility. Remember that, yes, you only need one source that's from a peer reviewed journal. However, the other sources need to be credible, right? They need to come from a trusted source. Otherwise, they will not be useful for a research paper. So, those other three or so, two to three other sources that don't necessarily have to be from a peer reviewed journal, you have to evaluate and you have to wonder and question the author's credentials, like are they a trusted journalist, or a movie reviewer, whatever it is that you're using, make sure that it is trusted. And you also have to be aware of the bias that that source might have. So like I said before, with the CNN versus Fox News example, one source is known for being liberal, and then the other source is known for being more conservative. So you have to be aware when you're using that as a secondary source that, you know, the information that you're given is being filtered through that bias. And you also have to be aware of the author's ethos. Like, do they make a lot of grammatical mistakes or factual errors? That means that it's not, you shouldn't trust it, because the person that's giving you this information is making mistakes. So you have to be really careful about those sources that you're choosing and picking. The other thing that I will say, some of you, I know that we have international students and other students that are using international sources as their primary source. Feel free to use articles that are in other languages, but you still have to evaluate those sources and where you're finding them. All right. So I know one of you is doing a Russian tale, using, like, that's their primary source. So you can use articles in Russian, but you have to make sure that they come from a trusted source. The other main thing that I definitely wanted to mention before we move on to talking about MLA is the Writing Center. OSU has a Writing Center that is free for all OSU students to use. You have both in-person and online options to, talk to someone about your work. I actually work there. So you have your online options are the live chat and the drop off, where if it's a live chat, it's almost like it's just as if you were having a conversation on Messenger. So you sign up for a time slot, you log in, and then you talk to someone about your work. In a drop off, you upload a document and they get back to you within 24 hours. The in person appointments vary. There's an in-person 45-minute long appointment option, which is in Smith Lab, in the fourth floor of Smith Lab. And Smith Lab is just behind the 18th Avenue Library. Your other in-person option is a walk-in option, which is 25-minute long appointments, and that is in front of room 150 in Thompson Library. And you just have to show up. You don't have to make an account to make an appointment. The Writing Center also offers English 1110 workshops, and I've let you know, like when we had the PSA, I actually let you know when one was happening, and I will continue to do so. So if you happen to go to the Writing Center for this class, for any of the major assignments, I will give you a 5-point bonus in your final grade for that assignment. So all I'm saying is that you have options to have someone give you feedback on your work, help you out if you're having trouble with anything in this class. That said, you cannot make an appointment with me. So if you see my name, Nicole, please do not make an appointment. All right, so now that we've covered all of that, let's talk really quickly about MLA. So the Modern Language Association is a citation style popularly used in the humanities. Definitely in English and English classes and literary journals. So this image that you're seeing right now is kind of a very general image of the way that the information is structured in MLA. And if you go under this week's modules, you'll see that I linked you to a bunch of different style sites. The important information that you need to know is obviously the author, the title of your source, and the title of the container, which we'll talk about in a second, other contributors, the publisher, the publication date, the location, etc. It's very basic information that you should be able to find very easily. So containers, like MLA is very much interested in containers, and the easiest example that I can give you of a container is, let's say that your primary source is a Magic the Gathering card, and you want to, use this card and you want to cite it. So you would cite the name of the card, which you see right here, the Dragon, and that would be the title of your source. However, the title of the container is Magic the Gathering. So another example would be a chapter in a book. So the chapter's title would be the title of the source, and then the container would be the title of the edited collection or the book. The same thing goes for a peer-reviewed journal. The article that you're using would be your source, and then the name of the journal would be the container. So you have to make sure that you're making that distinction. Like I said, some of the things that you have to look for. If you're making a search for secondary sources on the library site, you'll always, when you download that article, you'll have a first page that gives you all the information that you need to make that citation and to craft that citation. You'll get the title, the source, which is the container, the date, the volumes, the authors, everything that you need. You'll usually find in that first page. It's the same. The same thing goes for a book. If you open the book, the first few pages before the title and the chapters will have like all the publishing information that you need to craft that citation. Yes, you can use citation generators. However, for this class, this, remember, is a very short assignment that's worth about 50 points. Make sure that the way that you're structuring the citation itself is correct. Make sure that they're following MLA guidelines. Yes, you can use EasyBib. However, it will not necessarily always format the citation the correct way. So if you look at this image on the left, it there's a really big thing that always happens with citation generators, and that's the indentation. So with MLA, and I think it's the same for APA and Chicago, every citation line after the first line has an indentation, right? Do you see it right there? This is called a hanging indent. And a lot of citation generators will not give you that indentation when you make and generate a citation. So you have to make sure that whatever site you're using is doing that. Another option that you have is using the pre-crafted, pre-generated citations that the library gives you. However, it's literally the same case as EasyBib. They will not be pre-indented. The formatting will almost certainly always have something off. So make sure that the citations are correct. Whatever database you're using for those secondary sources, especially for the peer-reviewed journals, will have an option for crafting a citation for you. So, be mindful that you might not be getting a perfect 100% citation, but go ahead and use it if it's easier for you to just have it pre-crafted. Part of the grade will be a perfect citation. So yes, you will lose points if you're not careful with your citation. So by now, you all have tried making a search for secondary sources. Try to narrow down your searches. If you're making really big searches and nothing's coming from it, just try narrowing down. Make a general search for general topics. If you're looking, for example, for Little Mermaid articles, like whatever you're looking for might not be there. So maybe I'm writing about Ursula, but nothing about Ursula's popping up. So I just write about sea witches, or I write about mythology, or I talk about the Little Mermaid itself. Find ways, different ways to find the information you're looking for. So think around the problem, and that's why I had you guys make a concept map, because those words that you're using in that concept map can work as keywords for your articles. And that's another thing that you can do when you're looking for sources in those research databases, and I can show you real quick how to do that in the library website. Or any website for that matter. When you're doing an advanced search, you'll almost certainly always have an option to search for keywords, right? So let's say that I want Ursula and Little Mermaid and peer-reviewed articles. There you go. So, it might not always work, but let's see. On Octopuses or the Anatomy of Female Power, that looks like a source that I can definitely use. The first one that propped up was written by a person called Ursula, so that might not be it. But just making your way through those keywords and trying to figure out how to get the information that you're looking for is going to be key for this assignment. So your annotated bib is obviously due this Friday. You have time to make appointments at the Writing Center. You have time to make sure that those citations are on point. A lot of you already have at least one source already from the search that I made you guys do last week. So, just keep working on it. Don't stress. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to email me. And hopefully I will have all of your grades by Monday. I'm working on them right now. I muted all of the assignments. So if you already got your grade, you might not be able to access it because I muted all the grades. But you should all be getting them by tomorrow at the latest. All right. Have a lovely week. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Bye-bye.